The hardest part about having an extraordinary experience is it's absolutely terrifying because it requires you to take off the armor, it requires you to open that coat up and be exposed to that experience. An inspirational player to me is someone who knows the risks and still goes forward. It's someone who goes beyond their own comfort zone and their skills that they have today and pushes themselves beyond a limit that they actually knew about before they started what they were doing. Anyone and everyone is an everyday champion. If you look at it in how they do their jobs or how they interact with their friends or how they support their family, there are moments that every one of us is an everyday champion. And those have the potential to lift up other people and inspire other people. The big difference is, do they get the visibility for it? Back in 2002, I decided to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, and many reasons to try to impress a beautiful woman. We decided we wanted to climb Mount Kilimanjaro together. We booked our trip, we trained for it, we learned what route we wanted to climb, and off we went to Tanzania. And after 5 days of trying to reach the top, I actually failed to reach the summit because I suffered from altitude sickness and hypothermia at 19,340 feet above sea level. Roughly about 40% less oxygen than we're used to having on a day-to-day basis. And it really bothered me that I didn't get to the top of Kilimanjaro. One of the things about Kilimanjaro is that it's commonly referred to as the everyman's Everest, meaning anyone can climb it. It's just a long, hard slog up a steep hill. You don't need technical equipment, skills, or training to do so. So while I was falling down and suffering from altitude sickness, other climbers were literally walking past me to the summit. That really bothered me. And I spent a few years trying to figure out why did I fail while others succeeded, and what could I do to overcome those limitations. I went back to Kilimanjaro 3 years later with some friends, and we tried to climb it again. This time I did actually make it to the summit. Afterwards, I realized that this was for me personally, it was an inspiring experience to be able to overcome those limitations. And as I told the story to people, they found it interesting as well. So I was curious how interesting or inspiring was this story, and I decided to write a book about the experience. So for the next 6 months, I woke up at 5 o'clock every morning, typed out a few pages of the book before going to work, eventually found a publisher, and this year it was finally published. And it really is the story about what it took for an ordinary person, me, to do something extraordinary. In this case, it was climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. Every time we're faced with these kinds of challenges, whether it's a career challenge, a challenge with relationships, a challenge maybe with your own fitness, whatever it might be, the requirements are the same. We still have to dig deep. We still have to be sure, is this the objective I want to overcome? We have to find that thing that inspires us, that connect that to our purpose, and use it as momentum to get to the top of that mountain, whether it's a physical mountain like Kilimanjaro or a figurative one that we bring into our own lives every day. I think my story is the story of what is possible when you connect with other inspirational players. I'm an ordinary guy who just decided he wanted to climb a mountain to impress a woman. She touched and improved my life through the day-to-day things that she did to make that possible. The porters on the mountain, simply by carrying equipment up the mountain with a smile and with a joke in and a laugh in their heart, touch and improve my lives. These everyday champions, the people on the buses in Tanzania that took us in and helped us get to our destination, the other climbers that we met from all over the world, these people doing everyday things in an extraordinary way changed, touched, and improved my life. I'm not necessarily an inspirational player, but I'm an example of what you can do when you're around other extraordinary people, other everyday champions and inspirational players.